Hello everyone. Well, this will be our day 3 debrief of South by Southwest, where we talk about a well-publicized seminar by Amy Webb of the World Economic Forum, followed by a discussion on a workshop that they had on LGBTQ issues and how they're planning to implement their agenda through media and government. And then we talk a lot about AI and robotics. So hope you enjoy this. Here we are for the end of day 3. Quite another eventful day at South by Southwest. And we're going to make an effort to keep this debrief short.
I'm laughing now, George, because that's what we said to ourselves yesterday before we
said
began.
yesterday.
And we went an hour and 20 minutes.
Right. Well, let's get started.
Excellent.
Okay. Okay. So the first event, you all went to the Amy Webb seminar, and I went to the thing called Heated Rivalry. I forget it was like Heated Rivalry is some kind of LGBTQ messaging discussion.
Okay.
And it was very interesting. So we're going to. Why don't you all talk real quickly about Amy Webb, what she talked about, and then I'll give my debrief.
Excellent. I'm going to defer it to Audrey to give us an intro into Amy. You've actually followed her for a while through the World Economic Forum, correct?
Yes, so I can't remember, is she the trend report?
Yes.
Is she
She's the one.
the originator of it? She's
Yeah.
the one who does it, yes. I knew she did it, but I just can't remember. Couldn't remember if she was the originator.
I think so.
Yeah, she must be. Okay, so Amy Webb, I followed her. I was introduced to her through the World Economic Forum because she does speak on the Davos stage. And she is a futurist and very much on top of trends as far as economics, AI, business, just the whole gamut of it. Businesses seek her out. She's a consultant, that kind of stuff. She's very articulate, very fun, but very much pushes the worldview of AI and globalism. So we got to see a session with her, and it was fun at first because when you reserve a spot to see her, in the reservation it says she requests that you wear all black. So you're like, okay, so that's why I'm in all black today. And so you go in, and as you go in, she has people standing there and they're handing you Kleenex and a pin in the that's all black, which is similar to the breast cancer ribbon, but it's black. Yeah. And so as you go and sit down, you're walking past bunch of bouquets of flowers on the floor and by the doors on big frames. And we're all tired, so if we stumble on our words, that's why we're just exhausted today.
Exhausted for 3 days.
Anyways, all that's happening. You go and sit down. So she comes on. She's wearing all black as well, and she's wearing this dark robe, and the lights are low or whatever. And she starts very somber, and it ends up being this funeral for the trend report. And so she's giving the trend report a eulogy. And so we're like, oh, okay. So it was kind of fun, and she just went on about it. And then she said that when something passes away, something takes its place. And so then she took off her robe, and she said, open the back doors. And all of a sudden there's this marching band that comes in, and it goes around the rows and up to the stage.
Tubas.
Like the whole thing.
Yeah, huge marching band.
Yeah.
Huge.
And so they're playing or whatever, and then they're done and leave. And then what it was is we are now celebrating the rise of the Convergence Outlook report.
Ooh.
And so that was the setup for the rest of the session. And I'll give it to Carl now
Because my mind was blowing.
Because Carl's mind was completely blown because this dovetails with Carl's work that he's been doing for years, and I'll let him explain that.
So I didn't understand all the black, the ribbon, the flowers. I didn't get it. In fact, being the man, I didn't even get it until after the funeral part. Our mourning of the trend report, which was like a super influential report, like Fortune 500 companies, everybody lined up behind it. And she even talked about how it spawned a whole industry of other trend reports. And so when she started talking about the replacement, this convergence outlook, and how we have to now understand the storm clouds coming, and we are actually doing we're storm trackers, we're storm chasers. It's resonating because that's what Orbis Sentry does. And then she said we are moving from trend analysis to convergence analysis.
Yep.
And that's when I open up my Substack page, turn it over to Audrey and Brian, because my Substack is titled Convergence, Power and Belief. And then everything that she was talking about paralleled and affirmed, of course, on the secular side, but it affirmed literally everything that we have been doing. And all of a sudden it just hit me. We're not just, and I have to be careful how I say this because I don't want to sound like we're boasting.
Right.
And I have to be careful about this. We're not the sharp edge of the spear. We're the tip of the sharp edge of the spear. That's where we've been placed.
That is where we've been placed.
I know. That all of a sudden that hit me. Because I've been doing this for I've been doing it for more than 30 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I almost got a little emotional when I'm like, you just affirmed 30 years of my work from a Christian point of view. And she was like screaming it to the corporate world. Didn't say it quite like this, but basically get your head out of the sand. The storm clouds are coming. We see the convergence points. We're no longer interested even in the trends. We are interested in trends, but we now go beyond a trend. We're seeing how the trends are coalesced into a convergence. Yes, I wanted to shout amen.
Wow. When I was with the mission, the last report that I gave, last security team report that I gave to my mission team before I resigned was on the convergence of all the cycles, all happening all at the same time.
Interesting.
Wow.
Crazy.
She talked about things like creative destruction equals destructive innovation.
Yep. Yeah.
Creative destruction equals destructive innovation.
It's all about tearing down the old for the new that's coming, and we don't have a choice.
Right.
It's coming, period, and get ready or get run over.
Okay. So, and her video is available on YouTube. Right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, because I was at a different session, because I knew y'all were going to that, so but definitely need to watch it. But the way you're describing it, of course, sounds like it's all the things that we've been talking about.
Very much.
It was.
So, a very quick couple of points. Convergent, and this fits with the work we're doing as Orbis Sentry. Convergence knowledge is key to strategy. She talked about that. And how this gives us new perspectives, and with that new perspective, now we have new power. And like, in my mind, I was just screaming it out, going, churches, hello, we can help you understand this key to strategy. We can help you understand this transition from perspective to power. And we can do it through a biblical framework. We can help equip you not to react, because we're really good at that, but instead to respond. The 4 convergence points really fast, because I'll just go through this and we'll land on what I thought was very similar to your work, George. So convergence point number 1, and Audrey Bryan helped me with this, human augmentation. So she gave examples of human augmentation that she herself uses. one was a bed.
Yeah.
An AI operated bed.
Tracks your biometrics, it tracks your temperature, your, all of that.
Yeah, so it could optimize.
So that you can have a good sleep.
Optimizes your sleep. Exoskeleton, mobility, a bunch of,
Glasses.
right, the glasses, all of that.
They got glasses.
And then convergence, point number 2 was unlimited labor, as AI is now being written for both the left brain and right brain way that we think and work. And she mentioned China's, and this actually, George, is to your point yesterday, she mentioned how China's automating tasks. That was the point. Convergence point number 3, robotics, and then convergence point number 4 was automated factories, lights out industrialism. We don't even need to turn the lights on because it's all automated.
The rise of the machine.
Yes, the rise of the machine, Brian.
That's really what she was describing.
Yes. And at the end of that, she said, all of this directly impacts security.
Interesting.
All of this impacts security. And then all of this impacts purpose and meaning. She didn't say it exactly like that, but she did on the security.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, enough of Amy.
Okay, so I'll be pretty short on this one. I went to I think it was called it was about the hockey show called Heated Rivalry, which is very much a part of the LGBTQ kind of community. What they want to do is they want to promote their belief about themselves through media, and so they created a story about these two hockey players that are rivals on the hockey, and they're sort of like this. The way they described it is they're two male hockey players, which is sort of like the pinnacle of masculinity, but secretly they're actually in love with each other, and it's been a very, very popular show.
Especially with non-homosexual
Females. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. They talked about that. And what they're taking from that is that they're taking that as gay love stories are resonating even with non-gay people. And kind of another part of I get the impression that they, in the same way that kind of the Christian community tends to be myopic about itself, and it kind of imagines that, everyone is Christian, everyone that's not Christian is just kind of out on the fringe. I definitely heard that in the way they were describing things about their community. They have the same idea about everyone completely accepts gay, LGBTQ, and it's what everybody wants, but it's being artificially suppressed by either corporate interests or political interests, or all those kinds of things. So that was interesting. So there was definitely a sense of and I think, let's put aside the objections like we all have about this, that, or the other, and they might have about us. In a diverse culture, there's all these different groups. And there's a tendency in any group to think that they're kind of the only people. We saw this in the tribes all the time. It's like, oh, those people, you want to talk to sinners? Or you need to talk to those people over there. They're the ones that yeah. So anyway, so it's just kind of an interesting. They've created a very big community, and they're pushing branding, and they want to really push DEI initiatives to force companies to have the infrastructure in place so that when media events like this that have a strong LGBTQ theme in it, if it's a primary or secondary theme, that companies will have the infrastructure in place to get on board and support it monetarily and help the whole thing grow. So that's where they were coming from. Okay, so let's go to the next The next one, we all went to the same one. We all went to the humanoid robots, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was very interesting. They had 3 people that were talking about their application in robotics. And they talked about how humanoid robots, that doesn't mean, what does it mean to be a humanoid robot? And they kind of all came to the same conclusion. It doesn't mean that it has to have a human form factor with arms and legs. It can, the humanoid aspect of it means it has to have the ability to interact with humans. The one that I think is probably the most developed is the guy that runs the medical robots.
Yeah, the nurse.
Yeah.
The nurses.
The hospitals are employing these robots. They go on wheels and they go around the hospital rooms. They're powered by AI and they do mundane tasks in hospitals, and it has saved a lot of the stress and strain that nurses are having to work extra long hours. That was what he said. What else did y'all pick up on the robotics? What else stood out to you guys?
He said there was special and general purpose robots, and that those are different.
Mm-hmm.
So general purpose would be like, those would be the ones that could be programmed to do multiple things, or specialized or purpose robots would be designed for a special task,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so in factories and stuff, you'd have the ones designed for purpose, but in homes you want the general purpose ones. And so he said that though the general purpose ones for homes is about 25 years out, because with the cars, the Waymos and stuff, they already had the data. It was easier to collect that data because they could watch how people drove and that, whereas we don't have that data collected yet in homes. So how do you load the dishwasher and that type of thing, right? So they said they need to get those data sets before they can make robots that are actually efficient in homes, and he thinks those will be about 20-25 years out.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
That way,
Well, one of the other guys felt like it was going to be a shorter time frame, but I think the 20-25 years is probably more accurate.
I had a thought in my mind, and well, number one, we already have household robots.
Yeah.
You think of the vacuum cleaners you can buy.
Yeah.
They're specialized.
I got one right there.
Oh, you got one right there. Okay.
Yeah. He only tried to kill us once.
So we've already integrated robotics on a small level.
Yeah.
But I thought that was coming into my mind listening to them talk, and I wanted to ask you, Brian. In fact, I would like to just put the whole talk on pause and then ask you, because you have extensive experience in the oil and petroleum industry. Would you ever see any type of humanoid robotics take any, where would that fit with energy? Where would it fit with petroleum?
What menial tasks
What-
could it do?
We use robots now to check for leaks in the pipeline.
Okay,
So they actually have a thing they put in the pipeline, they pig it.
Yeah.
So they run a pig through a rubber or whatever to
yeah, my
clean
father-in-law
it.
used to do that.
Yeah, and then they actually have a machine they put in there, and it goes all along the pipeline, and it, scours doesn't clean, but it sends out a signal to check to see if there's any weak spots in the pipe.
Right.
The thickness of the pipe all along, right?
Yeah.
So they have those now,
Okay,
but really, I don't know if they could really have them in the oil field, because especially so many different applications. But if you're on a battery where you have to drive to every day to check everything, you're not going to get a robot to do that,
right,
right? But they do have cameras everywhere, so cameras are eyes
that's true.
in the field, right? And also the gas detection, so they have gas detection remote. So they have remote sites that no one goes to. Okay, they'll check them once a week or whatever, right? Depending on what they have there, right?
Right, but sensors do the job.
Yes, sensors and then SCADA, and they communicate with them, and actually they can sit in Calgary in a control room and open a valve 5%, like way out in the bush, all by computer and SCADA, right? So they'll sit there, they'll have the whole thing right there in front of them on screen, the whole process, and they'll just say, oh, this isn't right, I gotta increase that a little bit. You can do all that remotely now, and now it's even, and I've been out of that for, 3 or 4 years, so now you may even have more stuff like they can do.
Possibly AI.
Possibly, right? But they all have sensors, they have gas detection, everything's automatic, so if there's a gas leak in the building, the sensors go off, the whole place will just shut down, and all the valves that need to close will be closed, and the place is safe, and the operator will go there and fix whatever, and then start it up again.
Yeah.
So it's really automated.
Yeah.
Already, right?
Already. Interesting.
The lady I was talking to,
Yeah.
that you came and talked with us also afterward,
Right.
she,
Tristan.
Tristan, yeah, she's a director of research for a construction company, and I was asking her what kind of robots they have at her company. She said they've regularly employed 2 different kinds. One is a kind that does layout when they're constructing a building. If they have a flat building, and all it does is it basically paints the lines on the floor for where they're going to construct everything.
Oh, wow.
So they feed it the blueprints or the architectural drawings, and they lay it out. The other one is a drill, a thing that does precision drilling. And I didn't get a chance to ask her like, what are they drilling? I think it's drilling steel beams together and maybe who knows what else. But she also said, I said, have y'all ever employed any like humanoid robots? She said they brought one in one time. Or actually, she said they employed robot dogs
Okay.
to do different things, different tasks, because they can walk around the construction site.
Without
And
getting hurt,
yeah.
without wearing whatever.
So at one time, one of her
Right.
employees kicked the robot dog, and it went down 2 flights of stairs, and it broke the metal cap on the front, and she had to replace it. But other than that, it still worked.
So
And,
the dog didn't
yeah. And she said that when people saw the robot dog, they were scared. Some people actually went and locked themselves in closets or in rooms. They're scared.
Wow.
And she said that the thing that really induced fear on the part of the construction workers was seeing a humanoid like robot walking around the construction site. So they brought one on it wasn't actually doing any work. It was just to see how it would handle being on the construction site. And she said that really bothered the construction workers because they're afraid that it would take their jobs. And I said, well, will it take their jobs? She said, actually, she didn't really think so.
Okay.
It was
still a psychological thing.
Right. It would take over some of the menial tasks.
Yeah.
But not all the jobs, because they just can't. They're not anywhere close to being sophisticated enough to make a robot that can take all the human jobs.
Right.
They're not anywhere close. So it's one of kind of this thing that we're seeing is AI is making incredible advancements. The industry that is powering the AI is starting to recognize that that it's not ready to take over everything for humans, and there's a lot of people that are looking and recognizing the need to say, okay, AI is doing some things, but we need to make sure we start working at retaining our humanity in the age of AI. These are the areas that we're seeing in relation to AI and robotics.
Yeah.
And actually, up in the oil sands, some of those giant trucks don't have drivers.
Oh,
They're
really?
autonomous already.
I didn't realize that.
Like the 300-ton or 200-ton
Yeah.
big giant trucks, the tires 6 foot tall,
Oh,
just
right.
one sliver of rubber. The tires are like 20 feet up there, right? Like they're massive.
Right.
And they don't have drivers.
So they have people sitting in control and watching the whole, where they're working, right? And
Well, even today, I don't know if you saw the driverless. We've all seen the driverless cars already.
Right. Yeah.
But then they have a driverless, like a van. It looks like a carriage,
Yes.
You saw one of those. Yeah, yeah. And they're whipping around as well. They're driverless. They're driverless taxis too.
wow.
Yeah.
So, all right. So automation obviously is a big deal in certain industries,
Mm-hmm.
and I think all the talk that we've heard today and in the last couple of days about jobs are going to disappear from certain industries, probably very true, because automation will take over. I'm even thinking from the point of view of editing, writing, journalism, all of that, that is the conversation. Because we know AI is gonna do that, it already is. But then to see, to hear the term that Amy used of lights out industrialism, you don't need to have the factory floor lit up because it's all being automated. Don't have to have a human on the factory floor.
But then in the robot session we just talked about, how they're putting it is that we need to look at it as it's labor-saving tech that will give us our time back because they're doing all the menial tasks.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Even
So you
if-
get two sides. You brought up the creativity about writing and stuff like that, but the other side of the conversation is how are we going to keep our branding? How are we
Yes.
going to keep the nuances, the human nuances within creativity now if AI is taking over that? How do we because AI can't pick up on all those. AI can't pick up on history, oral history, right?
Right.
Cultural trends.
Well, you and I had a short conversation when
Yeah.
Amy was speaking about, okay,
Yeah.
on my Facebook page, I have a bunch of pictures of sunsets, my tractor, and it has, there's been lots of comments and there's lots of reposts of it. In fact, ironically, I had an old picture that I had put up, I think in 2018, I saw reposted on somebody's feed today. I'm like, oh, that looks really familiar. I went back into my feed, 2018. Yeah, it's a tree I took a picture of out in the middle of a field, all with, the snow drifts, and it's a really cool picture. And so this person put it up today as their main picture, their main banner
That's a
picture.
great thing, yeah.
So we were like, because we had a quick conversation, should maybe put some kind of mark on it, not my name. I don't want AI somehow using my name, but maybe a symbol or something to designate that this is actually a human and not a machine.
The other place that they're taking over is in sawmills.
Ah,
So what they have now, and then they've had it for some years now, but the sawyer used to be the main guy. So they jumped the logging truck, they put all the logs on the thing, it would go to the sawyer. He sat, at the sawmill I worked at, he sat and the whole thing, he moved with it, right? So he would look at the log and he would turn it, not by hand, of course, but to get it, and he would decide how to cut it to get the most wood out of it. Now, AI does it, it's all automatic. It scans the log, it sees, oh, this is bent a little bit, oh, there's some big knots there, whatever. Decides, it all maps out in its head in like a fraction of a second, exactly how to cut that log up for maximum wood.
What you said about the AI and creativity is something that in our last session they talked about quite a bit.
We did, yes.
okay. All right. Well, then let's move on because actually I don't want to get to that last section.
Okay, so before we get to that last session, we need to go to the psychedelics with Christopher Koch and consciousness and what he talked about. That was fascinating because it was the age of re-enchantment.
100%.
It was completely the age of re-enchantment. Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed our first segment. Stay tuned for our second segment, and we'll see you soon.